Good evening, YouTube. Welcome back to Play the Hits. This is Final Fantasy VI, and we just made our way out of the Imperial camp. How you doing tonight, Max?
All right, I'm pretty good tonight. How about yourself?
Not too shabby. Yeah, so this is kind of nice. Even though we missed out on an episode on Wednesday, we're kind of going back and making up for it here with a bonus app. So This works out fairly nicely.
It does, especially because in between we got some a trailer that dropped.
Yeah, we have something new and pretty sexy to talk about, which is the fresh Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer, which just came out of the blue. Like, I did not see that coming at all.
I didn't even know there was this PlayStation Direct. I don't know what they actually call it.
Yeah, it's called the State of Play, but it's
okay.
A direct ripoff of, Nintendo Direct.
If it works.
Yeah, and I guess they kind of wanted to introduce it with a bang, so they succeeded.
I think there was one other, but it was basically a whole bunch of, it was like VR games and stuff, so there wasn't anything.
Yeah, nothing too substantial.
The first one.
So overall, it was only like, a minute and a half long. Given what they showed, though, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts, one, is you can kind of tell it's looking different from the stuff they showed like 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Not like extremely different, but, well, sort of. I mean, I think, what is it, Jesse and... I was going to say James. Jesse and
James. Wedge and Biggs.
Biggs. That's who I'm thinking of, because Wedge, I think, is the
Wedge is the chubby guy, yeah.
Yeah. So they look pretty different. So they changed the models on them quite a bit.
They kind of look more like Tetsuya Nomura's drawings.
Yeah, they do, which I'm okay with, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of how
looking
they should look.
Less like, I don't know, like Animatrix or something. What is that? Flight of the Osiris.
And more just like anime.
yeah, basically like anime, but looks good. Cloud, I think, looks different. I don't know if there's probably comparison pictures out there.
He's more colorful. Or maybe it's just the lighting. I don't know. But
I feel like they changed his face a little bit, but I might be totally making that up. Again, I'm gonna have to look.
Whenever I look at like kind of modern renditions of Cloud, all I ever see is Advent Children, anyways. So
yeah, me too. And I think
that's
kind of what they're going for, so...
Yeah, marry him a little bit, which is fine. That's neither here nor there. Like, I wasn't expecting, like, kind of the super deformed, ultra anime-looking Cloud from 1997, so that's fine.
Which I'd be a little surprised about myself, but... Yeah, I don't know, because I thought they said something like, I think we're going to change how Cloud looks, or something like that.
Yeah, they did say something to the effect of, like, going back and making him... more similar to his PlayStation original look, which maybe that really did just mean kind of brightening him up a little bit.
Maybe, yeah, as far as the colors.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I noted. That was the thing that I noticed most about this trailer, is that the color scheme was way less, well, like you said, kind of the...
muted.
The muted green of the Matrix, and way more kind of those bright, flashy, almost PS1-esque kind of colors. Which, is exactly what I like.
It was so. Yeah, you know what, you mentioned that, and the whole trailer was a bit more colorful. You know, it had more pop to it. But I think also with the enemy designs, I'm seeing that they are kind of going like kind of like FF15, to its credit, they don't mind going a little bit kind of crazy with the enemy designs. It looked like how some of the designs really looked in 7, or at least very much.
Which is really cool. I was very happy to see some of kind of the robo-soldiers from Shinra back at it.
The ones with the weird-ass posture and just,
That being said, though, and you kind of bring this point up inadvertently, all we've really seen so far still is Midgar, like the first 3 or 4 hours of the game. And so it kind of makes, on the one hand, it looks promising. On the other hand, I have to wonder, like, how much have they really done?
Yeah.
Like, is it just kind of the same demo reel that we've been seeing for 3 years now, or...
I'm kind of hoping, and my guess would be that they are at a point where they're maybe this is like the first maybe Versus 13 trailer where they changed it to 15, where it's like, okay, we actually have a system going, but it's we're kind of just starting out again. I mean, because it's been 3 years, and we know during that time, since that, what is it? They had the teaser where there was no gameplay, and then they had the quote unquote gameplay at PSX.
Right.
That was 2016, wasn't it? And
yeah, I think
I think
so.
it was 2016, and then there was nothing, and in between they're like, yeah, we're scrapping it, yeah, we're starting over. So I'm hoping this is like actual gameplay with the system that they have, which I'm assuming is basically just the 15 system. Have fun.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it looks like.
Yeah, so which again, if they're kind of using that, and this is supposed to be on PS4, then it's like, okay, you already have like a pretty good system that is mostly, kind of built. So
which would
I'm
hopefully
totally okay
speed
with
up
that.
development a little bit.
I would hope so, and I think they weren't showing video until they basically were like, okay, we're at the point where we can just kind of keep building assets going forward, and we don't have to like build the engine or build how all this works.
Though that being said, too, if this is really intended to be a full remake of the original, which is still what they're billing it as, it's not like FF7 the Midgard chapter or something like that.
Exactly.
I kind of wonder how the overworld is going to work.
Yeah, when it comes to an episodic game, I really, really hope that there is going to be an overworld.
Well,
and
I also wonder if it's still episodic or if that kind of got thrown by the wayside.
I think they said today, actually, and I haven't read it, but I think they reiterated today, like, oh yeah, it is going to be episodic, since they've been kind of silent for a while. So I think they reiterated after this came out. It's like, yeah, we're still trying for episodic. And I am hopeful. Of course, they'll have more to show in June because they said so.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that they'll at least has some clips beyond Midgar, but I would not be surprised. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that they're probably still just going to be having trailers for mostly Midgar because that's probably all they got right now.
Well, I was going to say, though, the one like real glimmer of hope that I kind of got from that trailer was right at the very end where Sephiroth shows up. Did you recognize where that scene was from? That wasn't from Midgar.
Okay.
That was
it's
Disc 2
Nibelheim?
where... Well, no, it's actually Disc 2 where Cloud has his breakdown.
Where they are at the
crater,
North Crater for the first time?
And Sephiroth kind of messes with his mind and makes him think he's back in the burning Nibelheim. And that's when the only time that Sephiroth... and again, this is just going off the original game. The only time that Sephiroth ever confronts Cloud directly in that particular like burning setting is in that like false vision that he gives him at the crater.
Yeah, but that is if we're going completely off what the original game was doing.
So it's entirely possible that that's a completely new scene.
Now, I could be totally wrong.
For the PS4
My first thought,
version.
because it was right after the raid on like Sector 7 or whatever it was, that it was like the bomb blew up and it was like one of Cloud's visions. Because I know in the original game he starts having a vision there.
Yeah, and honestly, you're likely more correct. But at the same time, though, just going off the evidence from the original game, that's the conclusion I would draw.
Yeah, if we're going off the original game, that makes the most sense what you're saying.
Right.
And I hope you're right, because
it would be amazing if they had that much developed.
If they're introducing Sephiroth that early, and it's like, oh, we got to inject Sephiroth early in the game, it's like,
which
no,
I think is what they're gonna do. Yeah,
I think it's what they're gonna do too, and it's like, oh, give the people what they want. It's like, I think that's maybe what some people want. I don't think that's what. It's not even just me. I think that's not what most people want. The people who are like really interested in this game, I would hope. I don't know.
they want the faithful reimagining.
They want something
of the original,
that's faithful. And I'm not saying faithful as in it has to be the exact thing.
No,
but faithful as in respect it. Don't just be like, you know what, Sephiroth's cool, so we're gonna.
So now we're gonna make him like in every single part of the game, and the whole game is set in Midgard. It's like
he's gonna be haunting Cloud the whole time, and it's almost like we've talked about this before. Like it's people who writing the fanfics of FF7 that kind of misunderstood it, who are just like, yeah, Cloud's been haunted this whole time. It's like, no, it's not Sephiroth that's always. I mean, yeah, of course Sephiroth haunts him, and that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of the beginning of the game is his two selves at odds with each other. Him basically taking on a lot of Zack's personality, and then him who's like the terrified, young kid who couldn't make it into soldier, and being like, remember who you are. That's what a lot of his shit in the beginning was.
Yeah, pretty much.
It wasn't, oh my god, Sephiroth all the time.
Yeah, and that was kind of the unique thing about Sephiroth, is that he used the Genova host bodies to just kind of mess with him a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, again, seems like what was going on at the end of that trailer, but it's way too early to tell.
Yeah, and he was surrounded by fire, but you know what? I'm gonna have to go back and pause it and see if I see like houses and stuff.
You don't, I checked.
Okay, shit, because it's
it's just fire.
It's just fire, okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
again, like I said, if we're going off the theme of the original game, then that is the only point in the game where those two had any kind of conversation in a bunch of fire.
Yeah. You don't even, I mean, the first time you see Sephiroth is just at the end of the top of the Shinra building, right?
No, you don't even see him there. You just see his sword.
Or you see, okay, no, you're right. You don't see him there.
You don't see Sephiroth for the first time
until the flashback.
Until the flashback in Calm. Yep.
Okay.
In fact, for all you know, at that point, Sephiroth might as well be like a balding middle-aged man or something.
Yeah, and I know the times you actually like see him in the game, I know technically isn't him.
Right.
But I was like, I thought you saw a part of him at Shinra, and I always think that too. I keep going back to that and thinking that you see a glimpse of him there.
No,
but I guess
strangely enough, not.
So what's time? Is the first time you see him when he slices Eris? Or spoilers?
Oh, like in the.
Because you don't see him when you fight Jenova the first time, Jenova Birth.
No, you see him on the boat.
You do see him on the boat, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
because
I remember he does that whole freaky slipping through the grates thing.
Yeah, and then you see him again in Midgar in the library in the basement. Right before you get Vincent.
What? Oh, you're following him.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he just whips that materia at you.
Yeah. That's right.
That was one of the funniest parts of that whole damn game.
Oh my god, it was so dramatic.
Just chucks it at you. I hope they keep that in this version too.
My god, come on, no they're not.
We're just fucking pegs Cloud with the material.
No way they're keeping that.
Oh
as
my
much
god,
as I want them to
ribs.
keep everything.
Oh my god, that's a bruise. That's a bruised bone. Oh. Cloud's just laying there trying to catch his breath while the party looks on, like, just disgust. Like, oh.
Pussy.
Can't believe we're following this guy.
Can't believe he's our leader.
Guys, it hurts so bad, guys, please.
Okay, you know, I'm actually opening up my phone because there's an article on Kotaku I haven't read yet.
Yeah, read that live if you would.
Fans are concerned about Barrett's voice in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I literally haven't read a single thing because I started
that
doing
I could give
else.
two craps about, honestly.
Oh, okay. What were you thinking I was going to read? Is there something else?
Oh, the thing with Barrett's voice, I don't care, but what's the rest of it say?
Oh, that's literally the title of the article.
Oh, for God's sake.
That's what I was like, why? You know, I mean, I was kind of like, I don't know about this voice, because it almost sounds like a, not a Mr. Teeth. Well, I don't know, kind of. It's very much like a, hey, man, you know, it's like, wait a second. It seems kind of stereotyped, but again, he literally says, like, what, 2 lines in the trailer? So
right.
I'm trying
and
not to...
one of it's like, I got you, you know? Like, that's...
Yeah, got you, yeah. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, does this have to be a long article about, like, a voice? Let's see.
Is it seriously all about his damn voice?
Put it succinctly, why'd they give my dude Barrett the wild Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder voice? That FF7 That's true. That's
awesome, actually.
Yeah, it's very stereotyped. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to read that later. Oh, this is... Oh, I love the Phantom Train. Snarf. Munch. Snap.
Gobble. Like, Sabin just doesn't even chew, it's just...
Like you got the ghosts who got you, that take care of you, and then the ones who just want you dead.
That food was made from people, wasn't it?
I could have lived my whole life not knowing how delicious we were.
I just have to live with that shit.
Now I have to just know that.
Sabin has to own that. Like, Cyan's burden is that he couldn't save his family. Sabin ate a couple people.
And knows how delicious people are.
And is not at all concerned with...
Okay, let's look at this ghost for a second. Just his fucking avatar here is like...
Yes, 1 second here. I'm gonna give the Knight's
Wait, you gotta
Code
give the black belt to Cyan.
Yeah, and the Knight's Code for that matter, because he's got pretty decent
moral
defense.
code. Oh yeah.
Actually, Shadow has the best defense of all so far.
It's a little weird.
That is a little weird. Let's see here. We're actually pretty close to the...
Wait, is this what's his face?
Yep.
Yeah.
Siegfried.
Siegfried, that's right, with the Z.
Oh, wait, no. Here it's Siegfried.
They changed to Siegfried?
They fixed it. Now, isn't he supposed
No, I thought
to
that was
kind of...
he's an imposter, and that's why I thought in the original game they called him Siegfried, and then at the Colosseum, only one time there's a Siegfried.
Really?
And he was like, "There's someone going around with my name." Now maybe that was but he seemed super serious, and this guy seems like a joker. So that's why I thought that was a correct translation. That there was some Siegfried.
Dude, Cyan just wiped him out.
He goes down like a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I never noticed that before. Now, isn't though like the real
Wait, what?
What a windbag.
What a windbag.
Greatest, but I'll still laugh last. Isn't like the whole point of this character is that he's supposed to be kind of this game's stand-in for Gilgamesh?
Yeah.
And they like allude to that in the Japanese or something, like that's not his real name. He's actually from another world, or I don't know.
Really?
I could be totally
Maybe
wrong.
that is something to do with. See, we got to see what they say in the. God, now that's something I'm gonna look up. I bet there's some shit there that I either don't know or I totally forgot about. Because I swear there's a. He shows up again, like maybe once more.
Yeah, you
and
fight
then
him.
he shows up in the Colosseum.
Yeah, you see him in the World of Ruin. I think in the cave when you're tracking Edgar. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Somewhere around that area, though.
But yeah, in the Colosseum, he kind of loses the whole, kind of goofy attitude he has here.
Okay.
And he's like, "There's someone going around that's impersonating me," and that's all he says.
Huh.
And so, and I swear in FF3 US, this one was Siegfried, and then that one is Siegfried.
I don't remember this plot point at all.
I'm gonna have to look that up. And it's like such a not even a plot point, like it's very little. But I don't know if they fix it or fix something that wasn't supposed to be fixed.
What a goddamn disappointment fake Siegfried is, though. He looks so badass.
Yeah, seriously. He does. I don't even think you can fight Siegfried. Oh, no, you can. You definitely can. What am I
in the
saying?
Colosseum, for sure.
Yeah, you can totally fight
I remember
him,
that
yeah.
part, but I don't remember, like, the controversy about his name.
And that's another thing. In the Colosseum, he's actually, he's somewhat
competent,
of a challenge. Yeah, and in this, he's nothing, so...
Oh, boy.
I think that definitely lends... They have to be
all right.
different people.
See, that's what the ghost is for. He's just a meat shield.
Yeah. Or like an ectoplasm shield. I don't know.
Like a meat link. I don't know where that came from. Oh, monster in a box.
On my status, I saw this from 9 years ago. 15 pounds of sausage. I'm like, first of all,
yeah,
holy shit,
that's
9
right.
years ago. It's
God,
just
we're
like,
so
damn it,
old,
Chris,
dude.
but it's also like
We're so
sometimes
old.
I just see that shit, and it's like, that still gives me life. Years later.
If you're ever like running for a public office or something, you're gonna have to delete all my posts.
I'm gonna, yeah.
Dude,
So your friend Chris, I don't know that man.
I've never met a Chris Beck. We have like 600 recordings of you playing video games with him. It's all false.
That's
not the real Max.
That's fabricated. Yeah.
All right. You shut your damn mouth. So, speaking of deleting stuff from the internet, there's nothing even funny about this. This is as close to me getting real on this show as we're likely to get. But did you read anything about the controversy with? I don't know how into like YouTube gaming channels you are, but Pro Jared.
Pro Jared. That sounds familiar, but I'm not. I don't know.
Well, I really like his content. Disclaimer here. He reminds me a lot of Nick, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Just like in the types of games that he likes and the
What does
way
he do?
he talks about them. So he does like a lot of JRPGs. Like, my favorite videos that he made were his reviews of Final Fantasy Tactics and Chrono Trigger. Like, those were really,
like the
really well
the original
done.
Tactics.
Yeah, they were really, really well done. But it comes out yesterday, and this is the sad part, that he's getting a divorce from his wife, and it turns out he had like an affair with her, which it's terrible when anyone like destroys their marriage. And
sorry, it kind of cut out at the worst possible time. He's getting divorced from his wife, and then something affair with her. So he had an affair.
Yeah, so he had an affair, which again, it's just like that's really sad. But that's life. It happens sometimes, and But then it comes out that he another part of this like tale is that he had like this private, like I think it's either like a Snapchat or something, where he would solicit nude pictures from like underage fans of his.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah, so
That sucks.
Yeah, that really sucks. Because again,
Yeah.
I like the reason I bring that up on this channel isn't to like stir any kind of YouTube controversy with our 12 viewers, but I think I've said multiple times on this channel he was one of the people that I watched on YouTube that inspired me to do this.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
That's
it sucked.
tough. Yeah.
Because like he was so much like kind of like us, like the exact same kind of mannerisms and the way that we talk about games and this kind of games that we appreciate. I forget which Switch it is, by the way, here.
I think it's first and third are
First and third? Okay.
down.
Sounds
Or
right.
maybe the middle one's down and the first and third are up.
We'll get it eventually. But yeah, dude, that just like really that threw me for a total loop.
Yeah,
it really
and it's
sucked.
also just like when you believe in someone and you like what they're doing and
Yeah.
everything.
And, like,
It
that
seems
was-
stupid.
Yeah.
I was at the gym today, and it's just the typical thing you see when you think about just people, and it's just like there's like there's piss in one of the toilets. No one flushed it, and I know this.
Right.
It seems like it has nothing to, but I just think like, oh my god, like how are people like? I feel like I lose faith in humanity,
Right.
and so it's kind of like something like where this person's doing all this good, and now it comes out like is every person that gets something I like and then they get famous and it turns out there's something shitty going on with them, like you start to lose faith, like are just most people like this? And
Yeah.
it's really sad to think about. And then I had to stop myself and be like, wait a second, okay, like they're having a bad day, maybe they legitimately forgot to flush, and I bet most of the time when I see this, it's like the 10% of people who are just having a really crappy day or something's going on with them.
Yeah.
And then
Side note, real quick, do you remember the
Yeah.
input for Suplex?
Suplex? No, but I'll look it up. It had downs and ups in it.
Yeah,
Do you
'cause
know Suplex already?
I think so, but we kind of have to do it if we know
We
it.
have to do it. I was about to say, like, you better know Suplex, dude.
We gotta fucking suplex the train. I'm gonna keep the game paused here.
Okay, let's see. Blitz, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking this up.
Make sure it's the SNES original too. So
Over Cannon. Meteor Strike Suplex.
suplex.
SNES, XY, down, up.
XY down up A.
Yeah.
Shadow needs to use a potion here, anyways.
Sabin has his cool guy glasses on. That's what I always... And that's what it is, I think. It's sunglasses. That's kind of their way of
Oh
doing
crap!
it.
Never mind. Interceptor just got the kill.
Oh, God. Interceptor, no.
The dog just wrecked that train. Oh my god! I can see him like darting through, and like you see explosions coming out of the windows. And the dog.
These fucking Alucards or something like the Wolf Familiar. Just
Oh
woof.
my god! Just tears that. He
There's
did almost
there's
1,000
ghosts that are
damage.
like rolling off the train on fire.
Oh my god! This is so much worse than death.
Yeah, that was a crazy attack though. What the hell?
1,000 damage at this point in the game. That's
Yeah, that's nuts.
Interceptor is a little broken. But anyways, yeah. So going back to the point we were making before that fight, it just kind of sucked because this dude, it's weird to call someone your age a role model, but he's only
Yeah.
like a year or two older than we are, and again, just like I said, I really enjoyed his channel. I really enjoyed what he had to say and like the way that he presented it. And I figured, like this is basically what Max and I have been doing for 20 years. Why
Yeah.
not record some of our stuff? It would be
Yeah,
a lot of
seriously.
fun.
I feel like I going back and watching these that it is really just this is literally how it is when we're playing games.
Yeah, pretty
We
much.
Just shoot the
And-
shit.
And not only that though, but he cultivated like a pretty good image. Like like some guys are like me. I go out of my way to be like intentionally vulgar during these. But he was always just like a really chill dude. I mean,
Yeah.
he had like potty humor and stuff like that. But like when it came down to it, like he kind of came off as like the nice guy, right?
Yeah.
And that's you only see someone on camera, you develop kind of like that personal image of who they are.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
all of
for
a sudden
sure.
that's just like blasted away. It's crazy.
Okay. Oh, sorry. My wife is. Yeah, that's That's really fucking sad.
Yeah, it was.
That's
Like I said, it was already sad when it was just like, hey, I cheated on my wife and now she's leaving me. It's like, dude, that sucks, man.
yeah. It's like everything's kind of coming out,
Yeah.
and it's yeah.
Well,
all kinda
yeah,
coming
well,
down
and
now.
that was the other part too. Like, it wasn't just that he had one affair and she left him. It was like this basically like she felt like she couldn't leave, and he like kind of gaslighted her into staying.
Oh my
and
God.
yeah, it was bad stuff, man.
Yeah, I guess you're only going to see what again, kind of what he cultivates. You're only going to see what
Yeah.
he wants you to see for the most
Yeah,
part.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, God, that's
And
that's heartbreaking.
yeah, it is, and just like again, like I know we are nowhere near like the same level that he and some of like the other inspirations for this channel are on, but at the same time though, like there's a kinship there just because if it weren't for these guys, if it weren't for like their blog posts and other things like that, hey, this is how I record, this is what got me started, I don't think
Yeah.
we ever would have been doing this.
Yeah, and I feel like even though what we're doing is small, we're part of that community.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of like something like that rocks the community, and it's
Right.
just like, oh, jeez.
And that's kind of what you're seeing too, because some of the other guys that I really like admire for their stuff, namely the Completionist, which is also Super Beard Bros, and then
yeah,
Game
I know the
Bros, too.
Completionist.
They've all had this guy on their channel, and again, he was just kind of like one of the pillars of this little community.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just kind of a
gosh.
shitty thing when like they have to delete all the videos that he was in, and
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh
we're
my
about to the
gosh.
Velt here.
This is where Shadow pieces out, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Mobliz.
Shadow's like, I am not done. Guys, there's something I never told you. I'm incredibly afraid of heights. I've served my purpose.
It'd be like, you guys are gonna die. I don't even know, like, you're gonna die. Peace.
Like, what makes you, do you see how high up this cliff is? What makes you think this is a good idea?
Yeah, exactly. You crazy?
That's Shadow talking. You guys are insane. I hope you die. That's what you deserve. I kind of feel like this whole scene right here where they're fighting these piranhas on the way down, this is all just in their imagination. They
This
hit
is just
their
a fever dream.
Yeah, they hit their heads like really hard. And, they're picturing this big dramatic battle on the way down. Yeah, oh my god, we're so
Yeah.
cool. They're like riding the waves. We're gonna make it. And then it just cuts to a scene of
piranhas,
Sabin and Cyan like face down, like in the water, and just like blood,
He's like obviously suffered like multiple concussions.
and the water's just
Slipping
red all
in and out
around
of
them.
consciousness.
Yeah, right.
Look, it's a piranha. Oh, God.
Cyan like twitches a few times and then just goes under.
Oh, it's so
It's horrible. And then, like, without any music or fanfare, just the game over screen pops up. Like, why would you jump, you
Yeah,
monsters?
You were supposed to take the extra 30 minutes to walk down the path there.
Scale it like sane people. Are you crazy? You should have followed Shadow. That was the whole point. We even tried to warn you.
We tried to say you crazy. Like, do you know you've never played a game before? You're obviously gonna die.
Oh my god, I love this so much. This is all just imagined.
Is this Serpent Trench like right after this?
Yeah, it's real close. Have you ever seen the movie Jacob's Ladder? It's a
No,
really
that's
it's kind of it's
not. I'm thinking of Jarhead, but
it's kind of that same vein. It's a sort of horror movie, and you don't really realize what's going on until the
is
very
it Jake
end. of it.
Gyllenhaal or is that Jarhead?
That Jake Gyllenhaal's Jarhead. But
Okay,
so
so
Jacob's
Jacob's
Ladder was like the early '90s, and like this dude is convinced that the government is out to get him. He comes back from Vietnam, and he's like not the same person, and all of this like he's like having these like really demonic visions. And in fact, the imagery
okay, I think
in
I
that
must have seen
movie,
this as a kid or something.
well, you probably recognize it because the imagery in this movie directly inspired the monsters in Silent Hill.
Oh,
Like
okay.
they've come out and said that, like we lifted them straight from Jacob's Ladder.
Jacob's Ladder.
But
Gotcha.
anyways, at the very last second of the movie, so spoiler alert, it's revealed that like he never got home. Like what you're seeing is like a fever dream as he's dying on the battlefield.
Yeah.
So like that's and like there's kind of like very vague psychological hints throughout the movie that that's what's going on. But yeah, that's that's
like
what
that
we're
was,
seeing here. Sabin's Ladder.
Oh my God.
Sabin's Ladder.
I feel like that's very much a trope now, to the point where that's what a lot of people assume. Oh, this is like his dream while he's dying. Like, I mean, that was spoilers. Spec
Right.
Ops: The Line. I think that was their whole thing too. That was kind of the twist.
Oh, I
to
never
the...
played that one, but yeah, you might be right.
Well, there you go. Don't play it now.
Yeah, right. Now you know. Hey, as long as we're doing spoilers here, we haven't properly discussed Endgame yet either, have
No,
we?
we haven't.
All right.
It's been,
so
I feel like
this is gonna have
after
to be
2
the
weeks,
episode.
especially, that it's fine. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess
still
we
gonna
should put up
throw
spoiler
Right,
tags,
yeah.
but
I'll put up the spoiler tag at the start of this one, but I'm ready to go if you are, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I
Yeah,
need to talk about all of the freaking. Well, shoot, I've got so many feelings too from last episode with High Score Girl, but let's.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about that. But
Well,
yeah,
we probably
so
won't.
Endgame.
We've got like 30 minutes left, so let's focus first on Endgame, and then next episode High Score Girl.
Okay, so first of all, I still saw it. I saw it the Tuesday after it came out. We had tickets for that Thursday opening night for like a 7 o'clock show. We couldn't make it, so we ended up trading the tickets for a Tuesday. And it was like a 3:30 show on Tuesday, and it was still pretty crowded.
Yeah, I saw it on a Sunday night and, with Connor, and we had.
Yeah.
It was way more crowded than he's used to.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that it's a different energy, right? To see that with a crowd, to see it with a lot of people who haven't seen it yet, and especially for something like that where everyone's kind of reacting to the same moments.
Like there's people like openly weeping in the theater. And,
my god, it's like. And when you get that sometimes from a movie, like people, their different experiences going on with their lives, they might be crying at one part that you're not, and it's kind of like all throughout. But a movie like this, everyone's like,
at least
parts.
once. So I guess this is kind of the last warning for whatever limited viewership we have. We are going to be diving into spoiler territory here. What did it for me? Well, there were a couple parts. First off, with the scene where they're fighting Thanos, and then war breaks out, and there's that moment where all of the heroes reappear.
Yeah. Oh, with the Doctor Strange portals. Oh
yes.
my god.
And so for me, that was more just like, oh my gosh, this is like my childhood living room play fantasy come to life. Like this is my entire childhood. Like all of the characters that I looked up to and aspired to be like, and things like that on the screen at once. This is like the most inspiring freaking moment in any superhero movie.
Yeah, and only them at this time in history, with all the deals they have going on,
could this
is
even
the
be
only time
possible?
it can happen. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, who would have thought something like this would have been possible 10 years ago?
Yeah, that's 100% right.
It was crazy. It was crazy, and so that definitely got me.
Yep. So that was the first part that got me, like you just said. But then, and this is probably the one that got the most people. Let's talk about Stark here for a second.
Iron Man, yeah. Oh, for sure.
That was hands down, and I'm not just saying this as a fan of the Marvel series. That was one of the most excellently crafted, not only fight scenes, but then like stage exit lines ever delivered in the history of cinema. I am inevitable. I am Iron Man. I got like chills, and like I felt like the waterworks starting, and I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna do it, and he's like, and you knew it was coming. Like you knew that this was gonna be like the exit for a couple of major characters. But yeah, that moment got me. The one that I kind of is impactful as it was. I kind of saw Stark's demise coming. And I think a lot of people did. They just didn't know how.
Black Widow surprised you?
Black Widow surprised me.
Yeah, me too.
And mainly because we actually know that there's a movie starring her coming out.
Yeah,
which
that surprised me too. I was like, really? Yeah. And so the whole thing, I didn't think anyone was going to have to kick it, getting the Soul Stone. I figured they were just going to find a way to beat it.
I thought they were just going to didn't. My theory was they were just going to throw Red Skull down.
They were throw Red Skull. It's like, hey, we like you, buddy.
like make really good friends with him and then
like, he finally thinks he can start anew or something.
Because the Soul Stone knows what you're feeling apparently, right? So they actually have to make themselves feel for him and then kill him. oh god, that was my working theory. We have to learn to love Red Skull and then learn to let him go.
for Tony Stark, it was that line definitely got me.
That
But it was
line
also
got
like
me so hard.
when he had the stones in his hand and you saw it, you kind of knew like right then and there. It's like
Yep.
this is it. This is
Like,
fucking it.
and like
And they knew that you knew that, so they like lingered. Like Robert Downey Jr. just lingered on that line, and there was that pause.
And apparently that wasn't
just like, oh,
scripted.
shit.
Like he didn't want to say it.
Yeah, he didn't want to say it. Like they had already done shooting and everything. Like they were done for weeks, I think. And they had to go back. That was like the last of the reshoots. And I think just to get back into character and to be that emotional again and to connect with the character again,
And
I think he really didn't want to do it.
And you have to kind of put yourself in the actor's shoes a little bit, for even though it kind of takes you out of the movie. Like for Downey Jr., this basically gave him his career and his life back. Like he was such a fuck up in the early 2000s. And then,
there was a few times they gave him a chance, and he had a lot of
like
abuse.
substance abuse problems and other things going on, and like he finally put his life back together. And well, before it was even owned by Disney, Marvel rolled the dice big time with him. And
oh my god, yeah.
And not only did he hold it together, he ended up with the most iconic performance of his entire career.
Highest paid actor of all time. And dude, I'm so happy that all throughout these 10 years doing all these movies,
he hasn't had a scandal. Yeah, he's like
exactly
stuck with it. Yeah,
I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, and so it was like this bittersweet moment, not only for the character Stark himself, but like basically you can say what you like about how much you like Iron Man or like his kind of character arc throughout the Marvel Universe. Like, personally, he's not my favorite Avenger, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. He's one of my favorites, but in that moment, like, this was like the old guard of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which, let's be honest, took you and me, like, through our college years and into early adulthood. And like, we've just been following this. And
it's like a third of our lives.
And he's been like the guide on that tour. And now it's just like this moment where, and you're right, he lingers on the line, and it feels like time just completely stands still.
Yep.
And like all at once, you're like, oh my gosh, they won, and oh my gosh, he's about to die, and oh my gosh, this is the end of an era of cinematography that will likely not be duplicated to the same extent
ever
for
again.
a very long time.
It's like they can't.
Yeah.
They've already done it, and it's been so big. How could they do it again?
And there's like so many development studios trying to mimic it. To a lesser degree, and again, it's
trying to rush
its own
it.
trope,
and now it's like even if Marvel, they can't do it again. One, it was like such an impossible cast of characters that just came together so well. But I think more than that is I don't even think we can handle it again.
Right.
It was novel the first time.
You know how like let's use Dracula as an example. There's like a million Dracula movies, right? And if a Dracula movie were to come out next year, and it's like, oh wow, this actor's really not doing it for me as Dracula. It's not the end of the world. You know that in 5 more years there's going to be another Dracula movie. They're
just gonna like reboot it or something. Yeah,
exactly. And another director will take a fresh stab at it and things like that. That I can't It's kind of like Lord of the Rings.
Sorry, I just freaking realized who those two were.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot that you see them in the World of Balance.
Yeah, and they're just like two like love-struck teenagers.
Yeah.
It's like, oh crap, she's pregnant. Whoops. You brought life into this miserable fallen world.
Yeah. Probably should have kept it in your pants there, Dwayne.
But yeah. That was just... You're right. I don't see that feasibly happening again anytime in the near future.
And I know more could have gone right, like, they could have put the X-Men in at some point, or, they could, but at the same time, I think so many crazy things that you didn't think were going to happen happened. Like, one, just making a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, like, having, like, that cast of characters, like a fucking tree and a raccoon, being, like, two of the main characters. I didn't think that was going to happen.
If they had tried to do that in 2008, audiences
would have believed
would not have been ready.
That was even marketable,
right?
That could make money, and being one of the, when it came out, it was one of the highest grossing.
I think they really built this universe brilliantly, because they've done is kind of like they didn't go like for broke right from the beginning. They like kind of gently weaned audiences into like some of Marvel's more like weird and out there characters. So they started with like
a little bit at a time.
Yeah, you had Iron Man, you had Captain America, you had Thor and the Hulk. for very easily
Pretty stable,
identifiable, staple characters.
grounded on Earth.
And then it's like, oh, okay, so there's an allusion.
Thor,
Yeah, right. There's some allusions here to like some of these like spacefaring races at the end of Avengers 1 with Thanos being revealed and like these Chitauri soldiers coming from another dimension or something like that. It's like, oh, so wait, there's this whole other world beyond the cosmos, apparently. Let's explore that with Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, they have a talking raccoon. Why not do like some of our other weird stuff like Howard the Duck or who gives a shit?
Right.
But, you know, and again, they just kind of kept, they like inch by inch made it more like the comics, which was really cool. Until finally we have what we have now.
The tone of these, like, the later Avenger movies, and starting with Phase 3 especially, and then seeing, like, the Phase 1 movies, I mean, some really good movies, but the tone in a lot of them is, you know, and this is also pre-Disney.
Yeah.
But the tone is very different.
Oh, yeah, they were definitely finding their feet, for sure.
But they definitely took it to a different place. You know, and I actually like that in the beginning, like you were saying, right? They introduced people slowly. They built this whole universe very slowly, and they gave a lot of different directors. You know, they gave them the reins and kind of gave them creative control.
Absolutely.
And I think everyone kind of lent their own flavor to the MCU.
I think the absolute best example to that, and probably this is a weird pick, but probably my favorite Marvel movie. Aside from Endgame now, which is just like a whole different thing, was...
Is it the Winter Soldier?
No, Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, Ragnarok, okay. That's a good one.
That because not only that, not only was it a damn good film, like it was well directed, well acted, well paced, but it was funny as hell, and it completely reinvented how you see the character of Thor in like a really positive way. Like it was very well done. And that was largely because they were just like, hey, let's let the director be as weird as he wants to be.
Yep. And he was.
And it worked beautifully.
And it worked. It was like it was basically another Guardians movie that kind of, and I'm like, I'm all for that. Because it still had Thor and it had Hulk, you know, so it wasn't
like a buddy
flick,
yeah.
But exactly, it had that feel. And the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, and I like Thor Ragnarok a lot. For me, I guess my criticism is that, you know, it is like a comedy with, you know, a story going on, which is like, okay, that's its focus. But that's not what I thought going into the movie. But it was like, the more I watch it, I'm like, I just like it for what it is.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing with me, too. Like, action comedy is, like, one of my favorite genres. You know,
and we saw that movie together. That was, my God.
That was well done.
It was fun. I can't remember his friends that are playing Fortnite in Endgame, but when they were first introduced, and he had the guy with the fucking blades on his elbows and stuff.
This is me. He has swords for hands.
It was such a good movie. Oh.
Yeah, and actually that was the director. Did you catch that?
Oh, who plays that guy?
Yeah, the stone. Why can't I think of his name? It's gonna drive me nuts.
I can't think of the director's name now.
Yeah. Well, I can't think of either of their names, but yeah, that was him. And again, it was just very, very well done, and like really made me like I thought Thor was kind of the weak link in the Avengers, like roster. I mean, and not that like there was anything wrong with the character himself, just that like he didn't bring the same like personality and like presence that the other characters did. And then finally, like they carved out this role for him as like just kind of this interstellar almighty party animal. You know, it's just
Thor's always struck me how the MCU is built on, because some of their characters are you know, different from the comics.
Oh, very much so.
And the MCU Thor very much seems like someone who's kind of brash and not sure of himself. He's like brash and he acts like he's sure of himself, but he's the Avenger that questions himself the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's like Banner,
which
but
is
he doesn't
exactly
question
why
himself.
he had his.
He just tries to get rid of part of himself.
Yeah,
but
and that was that was exactly
uh,
Thor's arc in Endgame, was him completely doubting himself, like he's just lost it. Yeah,
that and I think a lot of people have criticized what happened to Thor.
Yeah, the fat suit.
And I know it's played for laughs, which I get. Of course, it's funny.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got,
but
like,
it also
this Big
makes
Lebowski
sense
thing
for his character.
Thank you. That's kind of what I was gonna say.
Sense.
Like, and I feel like as a fat guy, I can kind of like say this. Like, you know, sometimes like people deal with their fucking emotions by eating. And
Yeah, yeah. Seriously.
and again,
Food is the soil to bury your emotions.
that's exactly right. And in Thor's case, like I actually saw his reaction as kind of realistic. Like
It really is.
He like completely wanted to forget about the fact that he let half the universe die. And
Exactly.
So what
That
did he
is
do?
kind of-
He just fell back on having a good time and like
I'm
being
not
a
going to
layabouts.
say it's on him, but aside from Captain Marvel, Thor was the only one that kind of had the power to stop Thanos.
Yeah, he was
And-
the only
and
one
he-
who could
he
go toe to
didn't.
toe with him.
And
Yeah.
like you said, he should have gone for the head, and he did. And so I think more than anyone, he really felt the weight of that. That was like I fucked up.
And
you know?
and that was like some really brilliant direction too. Like at the very beginning of the movie, like I was actually genuinely taken aback when they found Thanos in the first 10 minutes of the film. And like and they're setting it up, it's like this it's not even a victory. Like what they did was completely hollow. Like Thor took his head off, and it's just like that did jack shit. Like there's nothing they can do.
The whole time heist kind of storyline, like I
didn't
figured
see that
something
coming.
like that was gonna- I figured that was coming, but as far as they have done so many things that I really didn't see coming, like Infinity War itself, how that movie ended, where it's it's 2.5 hours, and then Thanos just does completely what he set out to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like, oh, he kind of won. No, he totally did.
Well, and actually,
you know?
strangely enough, having read the comics, I do remember that part, and I did see that coming. Like I'm like, I was kind of in the theater thinking, like, on the one hand, this is extremely impactful, but on the other hand, I cannot be the only person in here who, like, actually thought that this was going to happen. Because, like, that was, you know, like how Bane's main thing is that he breaks Batman's back? Yeah. That's Thanos' main thing, is that he actually uses the gauntlet to wipe it. Yeah, he's doing the snap. Like, you can't have Thanos and not have that moment.
I still was so like the fact that we knew the next Avengers movie was a year out, so it's like they're not gonna, you know, if something like that happens, maybe it'll be the next movie, it'll get reversed, blah blah blah. You know,
that's why they left us for an entire year.
The movie for a year. I mean, that takes some courage.
Yeah.
You are at the helm of the largest movie franchise in history, and you leave everyone hanging by killing most of the heroes.
Yeah,
I was shocked, dude. I was like, what
I was. The part that shocked me wasn't that he did it, but like who he got. Like there were like a couple in there, like when Black Panther faded away, I was like, oh what? No.
Oh, dude, Black Panther and Spider-Man again, two of my favorite.
Those were the two that got me. Black Panther
and it was just like, wait, you're and I, of course, where it's like, of course they're not dying. We already knew there's a new Spider-Man movie coming out.
The other kind
but
of
it was
minor.
like,
oh, go ahead.
Shit. Just like, really, your two biggest moneymakers?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was thinking too. Like the other minor surprise for me in the roster of like who didn't make it was Star-Lord, Peter. I figured that of all of them, like he had to make it into the next movie just to get his redemption arc.
Yeah.
But
and to have that human side to it, even though he's not totally human, but to have a look into, oh my god, I lost my whole team, and I made that happen. Again, like Thor, it's like, I fucked up, I made that happen. So the fact that he got dusted too, I was surprised. And that Nebula was
and that was kind of a ballsy decision, because like to this point, even though he is back, like he hasn't had his redemption moment, and like the love of his life doesn't even recognize him anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's going to make for some interesting drama in Guardians 3.
And I was going to say, I think that's...
Especially with Thor joining them. That's hilarious.
They saw Guardians 3, you know, in the distance, and they were like, okay, we can set this movie up a little bit.
And they did.
Put some drama in here, and they did, yeah. And then Thor being in the mix, too, I think that's brilliant.
That's going to be so much fun, yeah.
And I don't know, because we knew what's his name? I was gonna say Steve Rogers. We knew Chris Evans, and we knew Robert Downey Jr. weren't gonna be there.
Yeah, before you get into Captain America, which is how I want to conclude this episode, let me just say that there were no bigger waterworks for me than that final scene when you saw old Captain America / Joe Biden.
You sent me the text, Joe Biden. I was like, what the fuck are you talking
like, am I the only one who saw that? Like, why is this not even a meme? Like, why is Joe Biden not like? Why is Joe Biden not campaigning on this? Like, he is Captain America. Because seriously, like when he looks at when he passes the shield on, That's freaking Joe Biden. I'm sorry. They could not have made his old man makeup look any more like Joe Biden. Like, go to the theaters and sit through 3 hours of film again just to see this one part. I swear
I wouldn't
to God,
mind, honestly.
he's freaking Joe Biden.
That film passed pretty quickly for me, and some
It
people were
did.
like, "Oh, it took forever."
It was like The
whizzed by
Godfather
for me.
Yeah, it was like The Godfather for me. It was 3 hours long, but it went by, like you're so engaged the whole time.
Yeah,
Like,
and it was filled. There was no part that dragged for me.
No, yeah. I really thought that I was gonna have to take a piss break somewhere in there, and like, I looked at my watch. And I'm like, I'm starting to feel it a little bit, but 5 more minutes, and then all of a sudden the credits are rolling. I'm like, oh, well, okay. But yeah, that was so. My favorite Avenger overall is Captain America.
Yeah,
and just because
of his growth, or
so like
because he is pretty one-dimensional at first, a little bit.
He is, yeah. So he starts off as just kind of a good guy, like a nice guy, like the kind of person that should be the captain of any team, right? And then like again, you kind of get this backstory, and not only that though, but there's a little bit of a tragedy. Like he finds love, and like he can't be with her, like because he's in like a completely different time, and you even see her die, and I'm like, oh my gosh! In Winter Soldier, I was thinking, what a tragic and dramatic ending to that whole relationship, and I figured from like a directorial standpoint, it's like, oh, okay, he's probably gonna get with Black Widow or someone, or they're gonna do that, but no, they kept that in the chamber for 9 years, and finally gave you that payoff where he goes back and just has this beautiful life, and they that was the ending of Captain America 1, right? I'm gonna get that dance, I promise. And like the directors intentionally made you forget that. They made I know, right? Holy crap. they made the entire audience of film goers forget that line, because it's like, okay, the lesson here was sometimes life doesn't always work out. The things that we think are permanent aren't always permanent. That sort of thing. That's kind of what they built it up as. But it's like, no, Cap did not forget. And like the like he was just biding his time. Like you never, unlike the other Avengers, like by Endgame, Thor's fighting for redemption. Stark is fighting for his daughter. All this other stuff. Everyone has very clear motivations. Captain just seems to be kind of fighting because that's what he's there for. Like
that's what he's supposed to do.
But he's like honor bound. He's duty bound to do it. He is the perfect soldier.
Holy shit, that wasn't even a back attack. Gauze nuts.
Yeah, Gauze just insane. But at the same time, though, that doesn't quite hold up with Captain America's arc, because we saw him abandon that way of thinking at the end of Civil War, right? So like he was no longer just the duty bound simple soldier that we've taken him for granted as. Like he was willing to go completely against the grind and even fight a good friend of his to save Bucky and to do what he knew was right. So you couldn't characterize him that black and white anymore.
We're talking about Endgame.
And so when it came time, like for his moment, it's like, oh crap, that was his game all along. The moment he got the chance, he went back and he lived life on his terms.
Yeah,
finally.
And he played it close to the vest, and you're thinking like,
it surprised me.
It surprised me too.
I kind of thought that there might be something that goes wrong with the time machine. It's like, oh crap, there's the next movie. A couple of us are going to get together. We're going to go find and rescue Cap or something like that. But no. Then I saw the old man on the bench, and like all of a sudden, like
immediately you knew.
Instant tears. I'm like, oh my god, he did it. and then like the whole scene too. Like it was so well done. The passing on of the shield to a black man, that was just
and you kind of like
and that was
like you knew they were calling him White Wolf in Black Panther, so is he actually? I think there's literally a hero called White Wolf,
right?
And you think about kind of where they're going with the new heroes,
and that was I feel like that was just like
they have Black Panther, now they have
they have Lady
Falcon.
Thor.
I can't remember Falcon's name, but
but Falcon is gonna be the new Captain
Marvel.
There's not like except for Thor, really. There's not like a single leading man white dude left in the roster, which is awesome because it's going to be so unique and so fresh. And and I feel like that dialogue that Captain America and Falcon had at the end was just like just this huge middle finger to like the white power movement and like all of these guys, like our whole, like basically where our culture is right now.
Yeah, because he is Captain America.
Yes,
and it's kind of like he subverted all of that. I think
and that was Falcon's comment. He asked him, "How does it feel?" And he goes, "Like it doesn't belong to me." And then Captain goes, "Well, it does." And that's like it's like the director's just saying, "Fuck you." Like we know this is gonna create like an internet shitstorm. Like, oh, you can't make Captain America black, dude. We fucking did it. I'm like so happy about that. Like, and again, that just makes me love Captain America's character even more, and I'm like super excited for the new like unannounced Captain America movie that will inevitably follow.
Yeah.
And then one other comment that you said, which is, you know, how are they going to bring the X-Men into all of this? Well, now that they own Fox, I think there's a lot of room for the A versus X storyline, which is actually kind of the last major comic book line that I read front to back was A versus X, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it on the screen.
I never read that one.
Dude, A versus X, check it out.
Versus... That was like it wasn't Xavier versus Magneto, but I feel like Magneto was...
That's part of how it started. I'm not going to give away the plot to it, because you actually should read it. It's that good. But A versus X is excellent. Yeah.
I'm, so it sounds like you're one of the people who could kind of suspend their disbelief with the whole Cap thing, and all people pointing out like the quote-unquote plot holes, or...
Yeah, I don't care.
Not like Cap to sit by and stuff. But for me, it's like, okay, one, you're looking into this a little too much. Like, there's already time travel in this movie, guys.
Right? Like, Captain America is tired of, like, just going to battle for nothing. Like, he also,
if he's living in a world with his previous self, he kind of knows how things are going to play out for the most part.
Right, and he said what like, Stark said to him, which is, and I thought that was, like, the most beautiful and, like, wonderful ending that Iron Man and Captain America's relationship should have had. He remember his like motivation. He says, "I took Stark's advice and got a life." You know, that was that was awesome. That was really well done.
He does grow quite a bit, you know, and you can even see it with like him fighting himself. Mm-hmm. But
that was great. That is America's ass. That was probably my favorite one-liner in that whole movie.
Yeah, and also because I remember that he was against like swearing, even like he's the guy that's saying language, and now he's like, "That's America's ass," or
and shit,
you know, shit. Yeah,
that was awesome. Yeah, dude, like he really like wound down, or like what's the word I'm looking for? Loosened up.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I ask one other thing? So the time travel, you were okay with that as like a kind of the main driving plot point?
People hate time travel movies. I don't care if it's fun. Like I don't need like hard and fast rules or to think about all the contradictions.
If it's like, I could see it as like a Deus Ex Machina, or it's like, oh, what's this shuts down anything, you know?
And the fact is, like,
have any kind of, how could there be any peril if there's time travel?
Yeah,
but for me in the Avengers, when there's 22 movies, this is the thing that makes the most sense, because they can celebrate the whole series this way, you know, and give these people who are exiting like a really proper send-off to...
But I need to get on a boat, don't I?
Tony got, I think you do, in the bottom of that town.
Whoops.
Tony got to have time with his dad, and I think he mentioned like in Iron Man 1 or something like that, he never really got to give a proper goodbye to him, so he got that.
Yeah, that was actually more explored in Iron Man 2 for sure, but definitely.
Yeah. Cap got his dance and / a life with Peggy.
Yeah. Which is awesome, man. That was so perfect. But yeah, like the time travel did not offend me at all, and mainly because like they actually went. It wasn't like a Deus Ex thing. Like they actually went through the effort of building it up.
That, and they didn't have to put Thanos in again, and literally a more dangerous version of Thanos.
Yeah,
they didn't have to put that in if they could just fix it all with time travel. They did,
which was kind of interesting too, because Thanos was a sort of interesting character. Because in Infinity War, you almost sympathize with him for a little bit. Like he's a more mature, like battle-weary version of himself, and then in here it's like, no, we're just going back to 2014 Thanos, where he's just a straight monster.
Yeah, I actually like that a lot.
Yeah, like you love to hate him, and it was so satisfying to see that Thanos go down at the end.
And I was about to say, if you had to see Thanos go down, because even when Thor kind of decapitated him,
it was totally unsatisfying kill. Yeah,
it was unsatisfying, and the fact that they decided to like, no, he has to be, you know, kind of like a titan. You know, he has to have some kind of plot that really is just off the hinge, and being like, yeah, I'm gonna restart the universe. Like, you showed me. It's like, okay, there we go. This is like kind of the evil we needed injected into him.
That's exactly right.
But
But hey,
good.
that's all the endgame spoilers that we could cram into 1/2 hour. Next time we'll probably continue this conversation and talk a little bit more about High Score Girl finally. But until then, YouTube, this has been Final Fantasy VI. I'm Chris Beck.
All right, this is Max.
You've had Max, and we'll see you next time right here on Play the Hits.
All right, see you then.